Besties, be so serious because Stephanie really good on TikTok and basically said, I don't understand how other moms are doing life. And the way she framed it was giving, I am confused by working mothers while she's sitting in the same one-room motel situation they've been in for over a year. And I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but when you're living in a one-room motel with 4 kids after previously having 5 kids in the mix, and your main content lately is just complaining that you're tired, the bar isn't even low, the bar is under the motel carpet. So let us start with what just happened most recently. Stephanie's I'm exhausted rant, because that is what lit the comment section on fire. Stephanie opens this whole thing by saying people always ask her what she's on, but then she flips it and starts asking what other mothers are on. And immediately I was like, okay, wait, pause. Because what do you mean, what are other mothers on? Like, it's some secret serum being handed out at the daycare drop off line? Bestie, the answer is literally structure, discipline, and build. It's not a portion, it's parenting. She's talking about moms who post consistently, even moms with kids that than her, and she's generally trying to understand how they manage. But here's what keeps skipping over like it's an ad break. A lot of moms are posting and working actual 9 to 5 jobs. They're clocking in, clocking out, still making dinner, still doing bedtime, still washing clothes, still showing up. And Stephanie doesn't have that. She has social media. So when she's confused about how other moms are able to post with kids, it's like, besties, we're not seeing what's happening. She's overwhelmed by a schedule she chose. And this is exactly why the gammy ad situation stays coming back up, because the internet is petty, but also the internet has a memory like an elephant with screenshots. People keep bringing it up because it became this perfect little receipt of the overall vibe. Somehow there is always energy, time, and focus when it comes to content that pays. But when it comes to the unglamorous stuff, routine, stability, keeping the motel under control, it's suddenly I am tired in 4K. It's like the minute it's a regular task, she's drained, her social batteries at 1%, the lights are too loud, the room is too small, the bathroom is too cold, the vibes are too off. But when it's an ad, when it's a product moment, when it's something that can be posted clean and packaged, suddenly it's camera on, voice ready, performance loaded, and the hustle magically appears.
Everyone always talking about what I must be on, but I want to know what these mothers are on that seem to consistently be able to post despite having sometimes more children than me. Honestly, though, I do think it has to do a huge fact with the part that when I put all these kids to bed at night, all the lights are down, it's quiet, everybody's in sleep mode. Like, it's nearly impossible when you're in the same room to not be tired as well. And as much as you think I might be enjoying myself, I really don't want to spend 2-3 hours straight in a freaking cold bathroom. See, this video last night, I was so determined. Like, you can literally see me carrying the determination through my cleaning, through getting the kids to bed, through dinner, all of it. And then after I got the kids to bed, I was so freaking tired, and I didn't even feel like eating my dinner. Like, I usually wait to eat dinner until everybody's settled, because then I'm just not fighting for my life trying to get bites down. But both of my babies are still used to being cuddled to be put to bed, and that makes me extra tired as well. So, and I do find on days that I have lots of appointments to keep up with, it drains my social battery as well, and that tires me out too. I'm not perfect, okay, but I'll never sit here and claim that I am. So but honestly, mamas, what are you guys doing? Because it can't just be routine. That's literally doing nothing for me. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye-bye.
And besties, I'm not making anything up here. I'm telling you why people keep referencing it in the same breath as her complaints. Because in the audience's mind, it's like you can't keep selling I am drowning as your brand and then pop up with a gammy ad like you're doing a cheerful little commercial break in the middle of a crisis. That is why the comment section won't let it go. To them, it reads like the priorities are always loud. And before anyone gets mad, nobody is saying she can't make money. People are saying the timing and the contrast is crazy, because if you're constantly telling everyone you're exhausted, overwhelmed, and stretched thin, and then you're still finding time to do polished promos, it's going to make people question what's really getting your energy. It's giving, I don't have time, but only for the things that don't come with a payout. And that is why it's giving, I don't have time, but only for the things that don't come with a payout. And that is why every time she asks, what are the other moms on? People are like, girl, other moms are on accountability. Other moms are on doing what they have to do, even when it's annoying, even when it's tiring, even when nobody claps for them. And if you think that's rude, just wait, because the way this whole thing ties back into the motel situation gets even messier. She starts figuring it out in the video, and she says she thinks it was a huge part. She thinks it has a huge part to do with the fact that when she puts all her kids to bed at night with all lights out and everything quiet as possible, it is impossible for her to achieve while they are all in the same room and being tired herself as well. And yes, because y'all are in one room. That's the entire problem. But then the part that makes everyone's eyebrow levitate into the stratosphere is that the situation did not just fall out of the sky yesterday. They've been in the motel for over a year, and she's talking like this cramped living situation is some shocking new discovery. Like, bestie, you notice the room is small in year 2? Then she goes on complaining that as much as people thought she might be enjoying herself, she did not want to spend 2 or 3 hours straight in the cold bathroom. And to be clear, she's talking about the times when she edits videos and records voiceovers, and she says she has to go to the bathroom so she doesn't disrupt the kids who are sleeping because there is only one room. So she's basically saying that she has to do content creation in a cold bathroom for 2 or 3 hours. And look, jokes aside, yes, and that is uncomfortable. But the reason people are not sympathetic is because the next question becomes, if it's that uncomfortable, why does it still feel like there is no urgency? Because when most people are truly uncomfortable, they start moving like they need out, like this is temporary, we are hustling. But this feels like we are tired and waiting on a miracle. And if you think that's bad, just wait. Stephanie starts crediting herself for being determined. She lists what she does: cleaning, getting her kids to bed, dinner, and then she says after getting her kids to bed, she has been so tired that she couldn't even eat her dinner, which she usually eats when everyone else is settled. So that is not fighting for her life, trying to get her bites down. She lists what she does: cleaning, getting her kids to bed, dinner, and then she says after getting her kids to bed, she is so tired that she cannot even eat her dinner, which she usually eats when everyone else is settled, so that she's not fighting for her life, trying to get her bites down. Now, besties, I need you to understand why this hits people wrong, because she's describing basic parenting responsibilities like she deserves a Nobel Prize for it. Like, yes, parenting is exhausting, but when your kids are still packed into a motel room with no space, no stability, and the living situation is still chaotic, you don't get a medal for doing dinner. You're not helping, you're parenting. And the vibe in this video is, I'm so tired, look at all I do. Meanwhile, her kids are probably tired of being in that motel. So she then goes on saying that both of her babies are still used to being cuddled for them to go to bed, and that this only made her extra tired. Then she says on days she has lots of appointments, they drain her social battery and it tires her out. And then she says she wasn't perfect and would never claim she was. And besties, nobody thought you were perfect, and not one person. The perfection accusations were never filed. People are asking for stability, not perfection. At the end of the video, she starts asking what other mothers are doing, because it couldn't just be routine, because it was doing nothing for her. And then she posts a caption that basically answers her own question. And the caption is, oh, that's right. It's adequate space for living. Y'all should know I am working on that. Who in their right mind would want to stay in our situation intentionally? Now, that line right there is why the comments got spicy. Because yes, adequate space matters, but people are saying it looks intentional because her spending habits don't match the desperation. And I'm not inventing anything, I'm using her own storyline. Because in the same situation where she says she's working on getting adequate space, we keep hearing and seeing spending that doesn't scream emergency. Like, who in their right mind would spend all that money she has spent on the TikTok shop junk, knowing she needed a new home? Who in their right mind would spend on daily gardening while their children lack basic needs like a home, clothes, and any memorable experiences? Who in their right mind would prioritize filling the motel with a bunch of extra kitchen appliances without a kitchen itself just to prepare motel meals? And that is why people side eye, because it's not that people think she enjoys being in a motel. It is that her choices keep looking like comfort is winning over urgency. It gets worse because right after saying she's working on it, she's also complaining about always being tired. I'm working on it, but where is the work? And besties, if cleaning one room is wearing you out, how are you planning to manage a whole home? Because she even says the motel room is always in a mess, and that is where the laziness conversation starts because it is one room. The other kids are always at school during the day. She has the whole day to focus on the motel. And yet, at times, it's even to the extent that Drew gets from work and has to clean while she had the whole day to herself. So the question becomes, is this really the attitude of someone that wants out of the motel? Because it doesn't seem so. And if you think that's bad, just wait. Now we pivot to Drew because Stephanie being tired and avoiding the grind would almost make sense if Drew was carrying the whole thing like a responsible parent. But besties, no. This is truly a match made by the stars. The exhausted stars, the lazy stars, the we don't feel like it constellations. Drew posts a video at work showing around the workplace on the workload. He narrates how it's been a crazy week, a lot of work to do, so he had to stay longer. He says he hadn't seen that many pallets of freight in a long time, but it meant there was more work for him to do, which is normal. That is literally how jobs work. But then we get the caption, and his caption read, I am not gonna lie, there was just a lot, period. Learning every day that I am at work, that's one day closer to us getting out of the motel.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a crazy week at work. Lots of work to do, which is just fine. Just means I get to stay at work longer. I don't think I've seen this many pallets of freight in a long time, but that means there's plenty of work to do.
Besties, I'm sorry, what? Learning every day that I am at work? So you're learning that working earns money? A man nearing his 40s with kids in a motel is just now learning the concept of having a job. The audacity is on clearance and the bar is underground. And that is where people get annoyed because Drew is complaining about having a lot of work and staying longer, but he's saying this after he had previously promised to increase his working hours to 8 hours a day. And the way the storyline has been described, he wasn't even working at least 40 hours a week. Yet, he has 4 children in one motel room. So when he posts like, so much work, it's like, sir, that is the bare minimum. Parents all over the world clocking daily, and most of them are not making a victim documentary about pallets. Then there is the part that really shows Drew's laziness and recklessness and reckless mindset, because there was another time he talked about how he did not want to go to work and how hard it had been to go to work while sober without gardening. And he replaced it with an energy drink. And the wild part is he shared that publicly without fear of being found out by his employer. Like, he was trying to get himself fired. It's unethical, it's irresponsible, and it shows he doesn't take his job seriously, even though the job is literally the pathway to getting the kids out of Motel.
It's days like these where I just don't want to, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and nothing else to do but to go to work a little early and just work. It's just work. I wish I could say it's easier without gardening, but it's not. I will say though, these have been my friend. I'll frequently use these or drink these, but they do help.
Another time he complained about how there had been a lot to do, how he almost felt like giving up, and he kept pushing, how tired he has been. And what is clear about these rants is that he wants to be the victim. He wants to paint the image of being the poor father trying hard, when in reality it reads like a very lazy human who needs to be pushed to do everything productive. He wants public approval, not progress. Because if the kids being in a motel isn't your daily push factor to do better, then what is it? What is? And the way this storyline is told, he only works night shifts. So people are looking like, why not take up part-time jobs too, because the motel situation should be the loudest alarm in the room. Instead, he's feeling sorry for himself with the little he's doing, and it just doesn't make sense. Now, besties, when you zoom out, this is why people say they're both a disaster together. Stephanie complains about being tired from chores, bedtime appointments, editing. Drew complains about workload, staying longer, being tired. Both of them are always singing the same song. We're tired, we have a lot to do, it is hard. And meanwhile, the kids are still in the same motel. And on top of the laziness, the spending habits are described as disastrous. Because again, TikTok shop junk, daily gardening, extra kitchen appliances in a motel. So it's like they want they want the comforts of a home without doing the work required to secure the home. They want good things but are not willing to put in the hard work to get them. And then there's the history layer that makes this feel even uglier, because Drew did not take his job because it had been the right thing to do. He got pushed into it. Court gave him an ultimatum: get a job to pay child support he owed for his son that he has abandoned for almost a decade. So he had to be forced to do the right thing. And people compare that to Stephanie being forced by CPS to leave Jeremiah with an ultimatum of losing her daughters if she doesn't leave him. Which is why people don't trust the "we are working on it" speeches, because they don't see self-driven change. They see outside pressure. And the final vibe is that Drew wakes up every day regretting the decision to work because he wants to sit in the motel and do nothing, which is insane when you have kids. Because these kids are not living in the motel because their parents failed in an inflating economy. These kids are stuck because their parents are lazy and making bad decisions. And that is the part that's actually sad, because imagine growing up and realizing your stability was delayed by excuses, not by impossible circumstances, by choices. So, besties, when you put them together, it's like watching two people drag each other down in real time. Neither is pulling the other up. They're just exhausted, complaining, spending wrong, and hoping the motel door opens into a better life like it's Narnia. And the most painful part is the cost of their innocent kids, because the adults keep acting like the world is happening to them instead of them making decisions that shape their world. And at this point, it is always excuse after excuse. It is draining. And it doesn't look like these kids are getting out of the motel anytime soon. No, because it's impossible, but because the adults are not moving like it's urgent. Isn't it just outrageous? How can people be so lazy like this? It doesn't even make sense.